Greetings, everybody. What's going on? So you guys will probably laugh because you're like, he's wearing something that says Boost Mobile on it, and he's got Boost Mobile stuff in the background, and he's pro Boost Mobile. And yes, I am. I'll be honest with everybody, I am. But also, I got this for free, right? I want it in a Boost Mobile swag bag. So, but anyways, what spawned today's little blog was I was reading Reddit, and people have some very harsh things to say about their mobile service provider that they're currently with. And I just wanted to talk about it in this video. And I know it's not going to be very popular, and a lot of you are not going to agree with me. Oh well, you may not agree with me, but my opinions is my opinions, and someone's got to say it. So anyways, I'm really interested on just how people look at all this and the things that they say. So when it comes down to it, people have their preferred service provider. You have your T-Mobile fans, you have your Verizon fans, you have your AT&T fans, and yes, there are Sprint fans. A lot of people don't believe it because Sprint is such in last place, and I think people look at it and they're like, Sprint's in last place, so we're going to completely, totally write them off like nobody likes them. And that's furthest from the truth. I'll be honest with everybody else. People may not like Sprint service because it doesn't work great in their area, and by all means, that's you. You do you, and other people will do what they do. But it's if you're in the belief that Sprint has no loyalty community and no fan base, then yeah, you're living under a rock. Sprint's not doing well. We know that because there was a time where T-Mobile wasn't doing well, and the things could be said about T-Mobile. T-Mobile advancing past Sprint is not a really huge accomplishment. Okay, they're not taking over Verizon. I think that's what every carrier is trying to do, is surpass Verizon. That is the top of the mountain that these mobile service providers need to reach in order to be, to say that they made an impact. I know T-Mobile is doing their T-Mobile Tuesday, and that's been a great thing about them that a lot of T-Mobile customers love and enjoy, is getting free stuff. But again, that's a gimmicky thing. I hate to call it as I see it. It has nothing to do with the service at all. It's not increasing bars in places. It's not increasing data speeds. It's getting free stuff. And that's one of the main argument points when it comes down to, mobile phone service provider wars between the fan heads out there. That's one of the immediate strokes they go to is, we got T-Mobile Tuesday. We get free stuff. Well, yeah, anything's going to be good when it's free. If Sprint did a free Saturday thing or a free Friday thing where they were like giving out free Domino's pizzas, take this coupon and get you a free large pizza, or take this coupon to get 1 month free to Spotify, or basically what T-Mobile's doing, then yeah, there's going to be like a whole huge rant and rave. Oh, Sprint's awesome. But Sprint doesn't do that because Sprint's already giving out like a lot of money to their customers to try to keep them happy. Because yes, there are a lot of things that entice Sprint customers to switch providers. They hear word of mouth. That's one of the biggest ones. Word of mouth. T-Mobile's doing better than Sprint. And that's like the number one thing that Sprint customers who want things their way, they use a lot is, my friend told me T-Mobile's better. If you don't do what I'm asking, I'm going to cancel and go to T-Mobile. Go to T-Mobile. Go to T-Mobile. I mean, that's really what it is. Just go to T-Mobile. Yes, while Sprint is handing out millions of dollars, to, keep customers content and happy with them, it's not millions of dollars handed out in forms of like millions of dollars. I mean, there's price cuts on their plans being, tremendously cheap. There's, rewards just for completing an upgrade. And these things get targeted on a per line basis. So some rewards are targeted per account, some are targeted per line. And so it's just the luck of the draw when you call in and you're like, you want to see what kind of deals you can get. You call in, you find out. But above all, people love to express their hate. They hate this, they hate that. And it's really hard to say that a person has a valid reason to hate Sprint or AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile. And the reason why I say it's invalid is because you chose to sign up for that provider. Every provider has a satisfaction guarantee with them. So I know, like, for Sprint, theirs is 14 days. You have 14 days to try out service, and within that 14 days, if you cancel, all debts and everything will be forgiven. And while some will say that 14 days is not enough, seriously, 14 days kind of is. Considering the fact that if you, on the first 3 days of your trial, you're experiencing slow speeds. And so you call in to complain that you got slow speeds compared to the last provider you were with that you switched over from. And of course, Sprint will promise you everything under the sun, that things are going to get better. But you still have control. You've always had control as a consumer. If you call in to cancel your line, or you call in to port out your number, if what the representative told you over the phone was enough to keep you with the company, you still made that choice to stay. You could have still declined every offer they gave you under the sun because the services was bad and went somewhere else. So, that's one thing that baffles me about it. It's like the hatred towards mobile phone service. It's just mobile phone service, and it's not like you have one that you have to stick with. You have many different ones to choose from. Yes, there's 4 major carriers. And yes, while it does seem weird, that Metro PCS may have weaker signal compared to Mint Sim, both using T-Mobile's network, there's a lot of things behind the curtain that a lot of consumers don't see. Obviously, because if the consumers saw it, then they would know the ins and outs of how this business worked. So I like to use Sprint, for example, because I know Sprint is very hated by a lot of people. And it's just weird how people can hate Sprint for a lot of things. And yes, I think one of the major issues that Sprint has is customer service. You can never really get a straight answer because the answer always changes from person to person you speak with Sprint. I hear it all the time. And a lot of customers are upset that customer service is outsourced. So they have call centers in the Philippines, they have call centers, in Africa, they have call centers in South America, and people get upset, can't understand the person, language barrier, blah, blah, blah. And yes, that's a valid thing, because if you can't understand what the person's telling you, then obviously it's going to make for a bad experience. Plus, also, to the same time, customer service reps in the Philippines, I will tell you guys, they will not bend no matter how mad you get and how much you yell at them. Obviously, it's because, one, you're like, hundreds of thousands of miles away, so why would they have to worry about someone screaming at them over the phone? So those things don't faze them. So if something is as it is, they're going to call it as it is. They're going to call it by the policy, and they're not going to bend or back down. And a lot of people don't like that, and that's one of the reasons why they say that the customer service is bad. I'm not doubting the fact that misinformation is given at time to time. There's humans on the other side of the phone, and they're going to interpret things differently, and they're going to make mistakes. That's inevitable. Sprint's not the only company to do it. Every company does it. It doesn't matter. You can call in the customer service on one company, talk to them about a particular thing, and you'll get 4 or 5 different answers compared to what the first person said. It's human error. It's all human error. I think people kind of forget that. And that's why I think, the digital world, the internet, has taken people's humanity ways, because people tend to not understand that you're dealing with another human being, a person who's going to make mistakes. You're not dealing with a robot. You're not dealing with something that is designed to be perfect. So there's going to be mishaps, mistakes. And yes, when it comes to business, it's about money. So the number one thing affected is money. And a lot of people need money to survive in this world. That's how you purchase things. That's how you get things you need. So of course it's going to cause great aggravation. But at the end of the day, no one forces you to stay with these companies. You choose to stay with these companies. Yeah, you can make up the excuses. Well, I signed, an 18-month agreement for this phone. Pay it off. Pay it off. That's one of the other big things that people complain about, companies, is like they go and they lease a phone, and while everything is written in the contract, nobody likes to read. So when they want to cancel because things didn't go their way, they get the shock and awe reality that they got to owe what's left on their lease. And it's the number one thing that they always cry and complain about. Why do I need to pay this off for if I'm not going to use it, if I'm giving it back to you? Well, because you signed an 18-month commitment. It's like you can't go to a car dealership and lease a car and then tell them, well, I'm not going to pay for it anymore because it broke down. You still got to pay off that car note. Same with the house. If you bought a house and you're making payments to the bank, and if the house, plumbing breaks and you could no longer get water in your house, you can't tell the bank you're not going to pay them anymore. You still owe for the house. Point is, you signed a commitment to buy that item. So you're liable for the payments that's made on it. If you want to get out of it, you still got to pay it. That's just how it works. It's just like the same thing, like the other reasons why people get mad. They lost the phone. They lost the phone or it was stolen. Why did they have to pay it off? The same reason why. You made a commitment to it. Like, yeah, it sucks you lost the phone. But at the same time, too, you're still responsible for that phone. You leased the phone, so you're responsible for it. It's like if you loaned somebody your car and it got stolen. Does that person you loaned the car to, is it okay to say, oh, it's okay, the car got stolen and we're never going to get back, so you don't have to pay me back for it? Like, no. You're gonna want your money. You're gonna want something back for that happening. See, it's a different view looking in than it is when you're looking out. I'm not saying these companies are perfect, because they all have their shadiness beside it. If you were to turn on the light in the room, you'd see skeletons in the corner, and that's not talking just for Sprint. That's for T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. Because again, sales is a very shady business. It really is. I was always told that a good salesman can make a person feel like they're like the biggest thing in the world. They can make them extremely happy with just selling them a product, and that product, when they walk away, they're going to feel 100% good about buying that product. And a bad salesman is the type of salesman that's going to sell you something, and when you walk away, you're going to feel like you got took. And these companies is what they are. Like, people got to stop. They got to just forget about all the BS that comes with it. Okay, T-Mobile Tuesdays and all this other stuff, and strip down to the bare bones of what these businesses are. And that's exactly what they are, businesses. And businesses are around only to make money. They're not here to make you an extremely happy person. They want to make you content. If you being content comes in the form of you saying you're happy, then they are content collecting money that you owe them every month for services. And that's all they're interested in. People make mistakes. They got humans working customer service. But customer service, I think it's taken out of context, because people will use that customer's always right. Yes, customer's always right. Within reason, though. Like, I'll give you an example. Customer calls in, feels like that, they had an 18-month lease on a phone. They want the next phone that just came out. They only paid 10 months into their lease. They have 8 months left on it. They want to give the phone back and upgrade to the other phone and not make a down payment, even though their credit is completely crappy. And they feel like because they're the customer's always right. It should just be done. No, it don't work that way. There's policy and guidelines put into everything, and those have to be abide by. We'll bend rules depending on, your tenure, because that's how business is. They'll bend for a customer who's been around for a while versus one that's just recently started, which is one thing that a lot of Sprint customers will complain about. And I'll say this too, those promotional plans to entice new customers to come in on Sprint does more harm than good. But at the end of the day, with all the bad customer service around there, and you have options, then choose a better option for you. No one's forcing you to stay. If you want to go, go. You have the power. You've always had the power. You can keep your business with the company, or you can go and give your business to another company. You as a consumer have that right. Nothing's going to stop you. all the excuses in the world. Well, I can't leave because I owe $600 left on my phone. Hey, you chose to lease an expensive phone. No one put a gun to your head and told you to lease an iPhone 10 or a Galaxy Note 8. You chose to go after that expensive phone. So it's not anyone else's fault that if you decide to break your contract and go somewhere else, that you're going to be liable for the payments. You chose that because there are great options. I mean, that's what I review here on YouTube. There are great options of phones that cost less than $300 that work absolutely fine that you could have optioned to get. But you had to get what everyone else is getting, and so now you're stuck with what everyone else is stuck with when they want to cancel from their provider. You know, it's that whole thing of just, you know, shop smartly. That's what I say. But at the end of the day, a lot of these complaints are not complaints that point out something specifically, I would say valid. Let's just call it how I see it. Because a lot of these complaints are because the company can't completely kneel to your every desire. You want a phone unlocked, but you didn't pay it off, or you have a past due balance that's like $500, or the phone hasn't been active on the account longer than 50 days. Why is that for Sprint? Well, they're not in the business of people walking in saying, I want to buy a Galaxy Note 8, and then after they buy that Galaxy Note 8, walk out the door and activate it on T-Mobile. Like, that's not how it works. They want customers. They don't only want to sell you products, they also want customers. And the last funny bit of thing is when people buy a phone that's defective. I bought say a Galaxy S8 and it's defective. It doesn't make calls, doesn't receive calls. And they're like, well, I bought it through Sprint, so you guys have to fix it. Even if we refer them to the manufacturer warranty, why do I got to call Samsung? Well, genius, Samsung built the phone. Sprint didn't build the phone, Samsung did. And when Samsung built that phone, they have different variants of it, and one of them was to be supported on Sprint's network, and we sold the product. That doesn't mean that we are responsible that the phone was defective. The manufacturer did. Just like if a person says that their iPhone 8 exploded on their counter, Sprint's liable for it. Go. No, they're not. Because they didn't build the phone. Who would be liable? Apple. If they're suggested to go and contact Apple support to let them know that the iPhone 8's battery exploded and burnt their countertop, well, that would actually be Apple's responsibility, because who would you sue in that case if someone got hurt? It would have been Apple, not Sprint. So there's a lot of things, and it's not consumers' faults, because today we are living in a world of entitlement where we feel like that everything is owed to us and nothing has to be earned. And it's that kind of thinking that put people in this perspective to not understand guidelines, policies, and rules. And with that, when certain things don't go their way, the first thing they do is take to social media, express how much they hate a company and how that company has bad service. Now, I'm not saying every time that there's a reported one that they're wrong, but some of them are. Anyways, that's it for now, guys. Good night.